Sir, with your permission.
Please.
Thank you, sir. Respected Principal, sir, Vice Principal, ma'am, Controller of Examination, Mr. Moses, Head of the Department, Mathematics, Ms. Chilakaruna, and the most important person of the evening, Mr. O.P. Gupta, the mentor of the orientation program webinar, my dear teachers of various departments, and my dear students, a warm good evening one and all. This is an important evening because one of the most famous personalities, especially in the field of mathematics, agreed and joined with us to spend his valuable time, especially during this pandemic time, to give some tips and some ideas for our classes 11 and 12 students, especially class 12 students are going to write the board examination. I would like to invite Mrs. Iron Simon, the Faculty of English, to brief about the vast portfolio of our resource person, Mr. O.P. Gupta. Please, madam.
Yes, sir. A genius in mathematics, Mr. O.P. Gupta, Honorable Principal, Mr. P. Prabhakaran, Respected Vice Principal, Dr. Gladys Diana Sivakumar, Assistant Vice Principal, Senior Section, Mr. Suresh, COE, Mr. Moses, Math Department Coordinator, Mrs. Karuna Chella, beloved teachers and dear students, a pleasant evening and a warm welcome to all of you. Mathematics may not teach us how to add love or minus hate, but it gives every reason to hope that every problem has a solution. With that positive note, I take great pleasure to introduce a brilliant mathematician, Mr. O.P. Gupta, who has won Indira Award bestowed by the Government of Delhi. He is the founder of the website, theopgupta.com, which is a mine of study materials for classes 11 and 12 math students. Mr. O.P. Gupta's success journey began when he topped the zone in his secondary school examination, CBSE, New Delhi. Later, he completed his bachelor's in engineering in the stream Electronics and Communications with first division from the Board of Technical Education, Delhi. Currently, he manages and teaches at the O.P. Gupta Advanced Math classes for senior students. To add to his credit, he has authored several books on mathematics for classes 11 and 12 and runs a weblog for math learners at the opgupta.com. Moreover, he has ventured another e-learning platform for facilitating the students and teachers in their preparation for competitive exams. He says his mission is to bring enthusiasm, passion, and interactive teaching style to the math classroom. He is focused on making mathematics understandable, applicable, and enjoyable to the students. We are indeed fortunate to have you with us, sir. Well, dear teachers and students, join with me to welcome Mr. Gupta to share his valuable inputs with us today. Sir, on their behalf, I welcome you and the floor is yours. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I take this moment to thank the principal, sir, vice principal, ma'am, assistant vice principal, sir, Chandrasekhar, sir, Karuna, ma'am, and you, of course, and all the students, the school community. So it has been a tough journey, this entire session, but along with this tough time, there have been some good opportunities also. So I take this opportunity to highlight some key points about CBSE examination, some general tips for the students to follow, specifically for class 12th aspirants who will be writing their examination. Let's begin the session of today. So I will be sharing the screen. Fine. Okay, so once again, namaste to all the stakeholders here, specifically the dear children, the seniors and everyone else. So here we have a mathematical genius of not only India, but of this entire universe, we can say. His work still being explored to whatever things that he has done. So I welcome to all the students for this enrichment program for 12th CBSE board examination for the session 2020 to 21 for mathematics subject. So let's begin. So be happy with this subject mathematics, because it is math time now. This is a session with O.P. Gupta, that is me. So let's start with some general tips for 2021 examination in this pandemic time. Why I have mentioned this word pandemic time? Whenever we are dealing with any exam, there are some general things. But you students actually have to go through some more tips, some more special kind of preparations are needed. Some special strategies are needed because of this pandemic thing. Do you know what is the Bible for a student of mathematics? I mean, for a student of mathematics who is in CBSE board, which books we can call as Bibles?
Sir, our maths textbooks.
Yes. The textbook, that is NCERT. These are the Bibles. Sometimes what happens, maybe it may have gone to your mind also. We see some questions sometimes and we feel that these questions cannot be asked in the examination. Specifically, if I talk about true false type questions, sometimes there are filler type of questions. Does it happen with you when you see such questions in textbooks? I mean, does this thinking goes in your mind? Such questions will not be asked anytime, means not only in 12th, not only in 11th, but in any class. Now, suppose tomorrow is your examination and tonight you are preparing for the examination for math, of course. And this there are some questions in a particular exercise where fill in the blanks type of questions are there. And you just think that these questions are not as important as other questions. Does it happen with you?
Yes, sir. It happens with me in 12.
Okay, so here is some tips for specifically for the students who are going to write the examination for 2021. Think twice or thrice or n number of times, but first of all, do that question. I mean, again, one thing that I would like you people to answer me. Does it happen with you that the question that you just saw a day before the exam, I mean, in the night you were just preparing for the exam, and a question that popped up in front of you, and you thought that this question will not appear in the examination, but the next day when you opened the question paper and you saw that question, in that paper, has it happened with you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it mostly happens with so many of us. Like we think this question will not come in the exam, but in the next day, that question actually is in the question paper. So that happens most of the time. So that's why I have written here. You may think like a number of times that this question will not appear in the exam, whether it is of true, false type or fill in the blank types or any type of question. But you can keep on thinking. But in case if you have time to think that this question will not come in the exam, you can utilize that time to do that question, to learn that question, how to solve that question. You can, take help from your teachers, your friends, or, any sibling of yours who can, help you. So you can have n times thinking, but please do that questions, just a psychological things. This is a book, Exemplar Problems in Mathematics. Again, this is very important book. For CBSE exam also and for competitive exam as well. See, since 2015, CBSE has been, referring this book also apart from the textbooks, exemplar problems in mathematics. The questions in this exemplar book require a high grade of thinking. You can't just open up and solve each and every question of exemplar. You need good thinking, a good level of conceptual understanding. Am I right? Is there anyone who has completed this book, Exemplar? Exemplar problem in mathematics. specifically for 12th, I'm asking this thing. Although this book is available for 11th and 10th and other classes also, and it is published by NCERT. And the image that you can see on the right of your screen is actually the example problem mathematics solution booklet that is prepared by me. I have prepared the solution of this book. Is there anyone who had solved some questions of exemplar or some chapters?
Sir, we are giving them as some worksheets, sir,
Okay.
wherein we are taking from exemplar only.
Okay, okay.
And we are giving them as worksheets. They are doing it, sir.
Yeah, fine. That's good. Yeah, okay, okay. That's good. See, students, here I would like to say one thing that, see, this pandemic is an opportunity. This pandemic thing is an opportunity, but at the same time, it has brought some confusion also, specifically to those students who may not have access to the technology, or maybe who are not intellectually that much smart. CBSE reduced the syllabus by 30% in the month of July. I hope you all are aware about that. The teachers must have told you. By the time CBSE released this reduced syllabus in the July last year, July 2020, you know, there was a rush of PDF being shared over WhatsApp groups, Telegram, and on other websites also, where many educators prepared a list of questions that cannot be asked in CBSE examination, list of questions from each chapter, from each exercises, which are deleted. Have you gone through such kind of documents where they mention these questions from 2.1, 2.2 are deleted from NCERT? Students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this thing, as I said, the CBSE reduced the syllabus. They released a document that what needs to be studied and what is deleted. Okay, they did not release any document officially. CBSE did not release any document which mentioned that these questions cannot be asked or this question can be asked. The deleted list of questions have been prepared by teachers. Maybe it has been prepared by me or anyone else, like many teachers across India or outside who may have prepared these deleted questions list. But when CBSE published their sample question paper in the month of October, do you know about the sample question paper? Have you gone through the same? The official sample question paper of CBSE. It was released in October. I'm not talking about any XYZ, sample paper of any private publisher. Okay.
Yes, sir. We have gone through.
Yeah. So when this sample paper was issued in the month of October, again, there were some discussion. Specifically, I saw some questions being discussed in the WhatsApp groups of teachers and in the Telegram groups also, where teachers thought that this particular question, suppose there was question number 19 from inverse trig function. Many teachers thought that this kind of questions cannot be asked because it is like they wanted to simplify that expression. But CBSE had given that question. So what CBSE wanted, that made me think and have discussion with many stakeholders in CBSE also, that what actually CBSE is doing. Many teachers have prepared list of questions, like from 1.1 you need to do this question and you need not do this question. From 2.1, 2.2, like many lists are there which mention 2.2 is entirely deleted. I'm talking for class 12 inverse trig function. The questions where they have to like prove that sin inverse of something plus sin inverse of something equal to suppose tan inverse of something. These type of questions involve properties, so such questions cannot be asked in CBSE. Where we need to simplify any inverse trig expression, so these questions cannot be asked. So that was the assumption that many teachers made on the basis of the reduced syllabus document which was released in the month of July. Because as I mentioned here, there is no official document available on the CBSE website which mention the list of deleted questions. So it is like very, a risky thing if you follow like a question. Suppose I will be giving you a few questions to ponder, like how would you treat this question, whether this can be asked in the exam or not. Just wait for a few seconds. But meanwhile, how many days are left before your 1st June examination of 12th mathematics? So around more than 100 days are there. Sometimes what we think that like here itself, I have just mentioned these 3 books. 2 books of NCERT textbooks and then exemplar. So sometimes what we think, there is a lot to be done. At the same time, I would say the moment you invest to think that there is a lot of work to be done, the same moment can be utilized to do that work also, instead of wasting our time in thinking that we don't have much time left. So let's do this. We still have time. And here, as I mentioned, we need to be very careful about the deleted topics. There is no list of deleted questions by CBSE. So as I was also saying, I will be giving you a few questions. Here is one question. So can you suggest me whether this question should fall in the list of deleted questions? As I have already mentioned, I have asked you also whether you have gone through those PDF files where they list the questions which cannot be asked in the CBSE examinations. So such kind of questions I have seen cannot be asked in CBSE examination according to those unofficial PDF documents. But at the same time, this is my explanation to you. The correct one, in my view, and Karuna ma'am also may comment on that. Tan inverse of half plus tan inverse of 1/3 is equal to pi/4. We need to prove this. Can you tell me the method with which you can solve? At the same time, maybe you would like to mention whether this question is in syllabus or not. This is to the students. My question is to the students. There are two parts of my question. Like first is whether this question is in the syllabus or not. And if it is in the syllabus, how do you plan to solve it? At the same time, the properties of inverse trig function, these properties are not in syllabus. Maybe you can just mention the property. Can you mention the usual method?
Sir, tan inverse
Yes.
A plus tan inverse B is equal to tan inverse A plus B by 1 minus AB.
This formula. I mean, this is how it goes in the textbook. You have used in place of X and Y, you have used A and B. That is okay, no problem. So that is the, usual method or casual method. And that is the easiest method. But as I mentioned, we call them properties of inverse trig functions. And CBSE says this is deleted. So many documents, many unofficial documents being shared over various platforms mention such questions from NCERT as deleted questions. So can you suggest me whether this question can be asked in CBSE exam or not? And if asked, will you solve by this method or is there any alternative? See, if you follow this method, your marks will not be deducted because derivative of inverse trig function still is in the syllabus. So this property must be taught to you. So if you use these properties to solve this particular question, it is okay. But my query is, can you think of any alternative other than this casual method? Okay. So here it goes. I have not used the properties of inverse trig functions. Sometimes what happens, students have this perception, this property is not in the textbook. I mean, this is in the textbook, but it is not in the syllabus. So maybe teacher will not award me the marks if I attempt in the CBSE examination. Why to take chance? So here is the alternative method. CBSE did not release a list of deleted questions. Keep that in mind. Can you go through the solution that I have shown you for this question? Do I need to explain?
It's clear, sir.
Okay, fine. One more question that I will be taking, and the solution will be actually from your NCERT. This is example number 10 of your NCERT. See, in general, sin inverse 3/5, we will convert it in tan inverse, then sin inverse 8/17. Again, we will convert it in the form of tan inverse, like sin inverse 3/5 will be tan inverse 3/4, and sin inverse 8/17 will be tan inverse of
15/17.
8/15, right? Someone said, I think. Okay. And then we can use tan inverse X minus tan inverse Y formula, the easiest method. But as I mentioned, this is an example of your NCERT, and the method that I'm going to show you is also from your NCERT. Of course, this is example, so examples are always solved. This is the method that NCERT uses to solve this question. You can just see this method, and there is nothing they have used which you can call as properties of inverse trig function. In general, I mean, there's nothing like tan inverse X minus tan inverse Y or any other property. So this particular example, and there are many other things which actually prompted me to think that such questions, which was my first question today, tan inverse half plus tan inverse 1/3, which prompted me to think that such question also may be asked in the CBSE examination. What I feel, CBSE has deleted only those questions from a particular topic, which otherwise will be taught in some other topic. For example, GOF for composition of functions, it is deleted from which chapter, in case if someone knows? Finding GOF, finding fog, and all, although it is deleted. So maybe you may not have studied about it, but in case if someone knows.
Relations and functions.
Yes, it is in relations and functions. Bilkul thik, perfect. This thing is deleted from chapter 1, but derivative of composite functions, continuity of composite function is in the syllabus. It is still in the syllabus. We need to study it. So as I was mentioning, CBSE has deleted a particular topic from a chapter if that topic has to be taught in some other chapter. So it's kind of, good mapping from CBSE, also to reduce the pressure from students' mind. So in some topics, the mapping of deleted topics has been done by CBSE in such a manner that it will be taught later on in some other topic. In some other topics, the deletion of questions, deletion of any particular aspect of that chapter is very much clear. For example, properties of determinants. It is very much clear that it won't be there. In LPP, linear programming, can you tell me what is deleted in LPP? From linear programming, what is deleted and what is in the syllabus?
Sir, word problems are deleted.
And?
The direct equations will be given and then we'll have to plot the graph.
One more thing you are missing.
So just the first exercise.
Oh, see, again, you have this, I don't know, should I say misinformation or what? There is no exercise-wise deletion list of questions by CBSE. So don't say 12.1 is entirely in the syllabus or is entirely deleted, 12.2 is deleted or something. I am just explaining the same thing to you, like 2.2 is deleted. But I am showing you some questions. You can have alternative approach to solve such questions. The questions are still in the syllabus, many questions. From LPP, actually, formulation of LPP is not in syllabus. I mean, some students just mentioned word problem. And one more thing is deleted.
Unbounded region.
Yeah. Yes, you ma'am. Actually, the question was to the students. Unbounded feasible, feasible region, which are bounded is in the syllabus, but feasible region, which are not bounded, unbounded feasible region, now that is deleted also. So two things are deleted from LPP. So there are some, clear-cut ideas for some chapters, for some topics that these are absolutely deleted. I mean, what is deleted, what is in the syllabus. But in some topics, it is not as much clear. And that has created the confusion. Now this question, very interesting one. So how many of you think this question could be asked in the paper? And which topic it belongs to? Which chapter?
Vector algebra.
Yeah, vector algebra. That is chapter number 10. Have you heard of this concept? Let me write in genre. See, students actually write in abbreviation form, STP of vectors. Maybe if someone has studied it.
Scalar triple product.
Yes, yeah, I was going to write the full form, but anyway, someone just said scalar triple product of vectors. We can write it like this if that student has an idea about it. So it is directly 0 because two vectors are same. Now this is the easiest method. If this thing, this topic, scalar triple product of vector is in the syllabus, if this is in the syllabus, but because this concept of scalar triple product of vectors is not in syllabus, so maybe some teachers or some students may have this idea that, okay, we will not give the questions based on this topic or maybe of this form. But at the same time, can you explain me any alternative way other than this, of course, other than this STP of vector thing? Any alternative method? I am saying this question can be asked in your paper. And someone else may be having this idea because it is based on a scalar triple product of vector. They may declare this question cannot be asked. But I am saying there is one usual method, the simplest one, which I have just shown here on the board. And there is another method, alternative method. The conceptual approach to this question brings this question in the syllabus? Because those concepts are in the syllabus. Can someone explain how you can solve this question without using this STP? See, in general, actually, I will take some symbols. Suppose I have P cross Q and that is equal to R. What is the relation between vector P, vector R, vector Q, vector R? This is the relation, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And suppose if I have some other vectors, vector S perpendicular to vector R. So what will be S dot R? This is dot product.
0.
0. So I have explained you the concept. Now, can you please elaborate how to solve this question that is A dot B cross A? If you know the concept of cross product of vector, you can answer this question. And this cross product thing, this dot product thing of vectors is in the syllabus. So as I was mentioning, if you think alternatively, the concepts which are in our syllabus can be used to solve this question. Anyone who can explain now? Because I have given you the idea about the concept. See, B cross A will be a vector which will be perpendicular to B as well as A. If for that matter, if you can call B cross A as vector C. Am I clear to you? Suppose it is vector C. So do you know that vector B will be perpendicular to C and vector A will also be perpendicular to C. So therefore vector A dot vector C will be 0. So now tell me whether this question, I'm not saying scalar triple product of vector, but I am asking whether this question can be asked or such questions can be asked in the paper or not. It can be. One more question I would just give you. Suppose I give you like set of points. I will not be able to write all the points here, space problem. Suppose there is a point A, there is another point B, another point C, and another point D. So you may find such question in your textbook also, and such questions have been asked in the CBSE exams as well. We are given 4 points like A, B, C, and D. Listen to the question very carefully. I will not be writing more on the board. So we are given 4 points A, B, C, and D. And we need to prove that these 4 points are coplanar. Coplanar, not collinear. How do you plan to solve? If we go by usual method, that will be towards scalar triple product of vector, but that is not in syllabus. So can you give me any idea of the related concepts which are in the syllabus that can be used to solve these kind of problems? How to prove 4 points as coplanar points? Any student here? Okay, take it as a homework.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. This syllabus thing that I'm sure you all must have been, aware of for class 12, the bifurcation of each unit and the marks distribution, like relation function, 8 marks, algebra. Algebra means chapter 3 and 4, that is matrices and determinant. Then calculus, the heaviest unit and the most interesting one. Then vector 3D, 14 marks, LPP, linear programming. If you go by the CBSE official sample question paper, how many questions could be there from LPP? How many questions were there in the official CBSE sample paper? Only 1 question was there in the last part. Anyway, so this is the blueprint of that sample question paper of CBSE. How many questions were there from each chapter of your textbook in that sample question paper of CBSE. In addition to this discussion, unit-wise weightage remains same. Chapter-wise weightage may vary. Now, what does that mean? Well, this list actually has been prepared chapter-wise, not unit-wise. But if you count the marks, suppose chapter 1 and chapter 2, that is relation function and inverse trig function. Now, this make your unit first. So, unit first was of 8 marks. We just saw in the previous slide. And then if you count this continuity and differentiability, application of derivative integrals, application of integral differential equation, and add up the marks it is 8, 9, 6, then 6, and again 6. So it will be 35. So unit-wise weightage remains same. Now, what does that mean? Suppose application of integrals is of 6 marks in the CBSE sample question paper. And the distribution of questions were like 1 marker, 2 marker, and 3 marker. You can see here also application of integrals, like 1 marker, 2 marker, and then 3 marker. So there were 3 questions, and it makes like 6 marks. You can see here in the last column. Fine. Now, what could happen? CBSE may give you only 2 questions from this area chapter, application of integral, and this 1 mark of application of integral may be added to this chapter. Suppose integral, suppose it can be made like 6 plus 1, so 7. As a whole, entire calculus will be of 35 marks. So without disturbing the unit-wise weightage, internal variation among the chapters can be seen. This actually is a normal practice in the CBSE paper. The unit-wise weightage remains the same. This blueprint and the entire PPT will be shared in PDF later on. We move to the discussion of some selected questions from CBSE sample question paper. Now, one thing, how many of you have written online and offline examination, the pre-board examination? Online as well as offline, or only online?
So pre-boards were conducted in school. We'll be conducting in school, sir. But we have had this offline test, sir.
Okay, you had offline test. And what about online test? Online pre-board actually. Was there any online pre-board examination?
No, sir. Half
Okay, fine.
yearly.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. We had half yearly and term 2.
Okay.
Term 2 was offline. Half yearly was online.
See, there are 38 questions. And in general, how many questions do we need to read to decide that we will not solve the upper question, because there are internal choices. Internal choices are there in many questions actually. So 38 questions to be attempted, but in general, how many questions we need to read? After reading the question, we will be able to decide which question to attempt or which to skip. Now, suppose in the last section where 3 questions are there, one is from 3-dimensional geometry, one is from matrices and determinant, and one is from LPP. So there are 3 questions, and in all these 3 questions, we have internal choices. Means in general, there are 6 questions. From those 6 questions, we need to attempt 3 questions. So in that way, actually, we will be reading all the questions. And then we will be deciding, okay, I know this question how to solve, and I am not as confident in that other question, which was given there as an internal choice. So as a matter of fact, if you count, there are more than 50 questions that you need to read. And then you need to answer 38 questions from those 50 plus questions. So reading the question paper, it will be a time consuming, and then attempting the paper also will be time consuming. So a well-mannered planning is needed. Not all the questions needed to be solved. There may be some questions where we can directly apply the formula, but the formulas may not be directly given in your NCERT textbook, but the concepts are there in your textbook. I take this question. I think here I just did the annotation. This is n of a equal to 3. This is question number 1 of the CBSE sample question paper. How many reflexive relations are possible in a set A whose number of elements is 3? We can apply the concepts are there in your textbook, but that will be time consuming. At the same time, it is of 1 mark. I don't know how much minute or seconds you would like to devote to this question. But if there is set A and set B, how many functions, how many one function, how many onto functions can be defined from set A to set B, or from set A to itself, the number of reflexive relations, the number of symmetric relations. There are some formulas. So as of now, for this particular question, I have given some set of formulas. Now these formulas are actually only for relations. Number of reflexive relation, number of symmetric relations, number of reflexive and symmetric relations, and number of transitive relations. So this actually the capture of this particular list of formula is from my book. There are some other things that I have just mentioned, the number of functions, number of one function, number of onto function, number of, see there is like number of bijective function. There's a formula also for that, but the bijective function, the bijection is not in the syllabus. So maybe we can skip that, but number of one function, number of onto functions, such kind of questions could be asked in the paper, and we must know the direct formula that will save our time. I will take one question here again, question number 3. And how many steps we need to solve this particular question? Question number 3. This is direct answer for question number 3. If you know the concept, the answer could be written only in a fraction of seconds. What about the question number 6? Can you answer how to solve this? Again, there is a trap in this question. These are of 1 mark. Writing the answer could fetch you the full marks, but of course, I mean, at least write minimum number of steps, but write some steps. Don't directly write the answer. For this question, can you give me an idea how to solve this question? What is the need of giving this information when they have given this this data? What is the need of this value? I have mentioned this is a trap question. They wanted you to think about this determinant of A, that is -7. And of course, they want you to think about the order also, that the matrix is of order 3 by 3. And they are asking you something else which actually will not require the use of all these things. Can you tell me what will be the answer?
So this is like the expansion around the first row.
See, what is your name?
So Omar.
Okay, Omar. This is directly, see, the question is of 1 mark and you can directly write the answer as 0. Why? Focus on this this thing which I am underlining. These are the elements of which row or of which column. These are elements of which row or of which column.
So it's the first row.
First row, and these are the capital A21, this thing and this thing and this thing. These are the cofactors. Here you can see these are the cofactors of which row or of which column. How do we define a determinant? If you go by that definition, you can directly write the answer as 0. We take the element of, suppose, row 1, and then we take the cofactor of the same row. In case I can replace the word row by column also, I can take elements of, suppose, column 3 and take the cofactors of the column 3 elements as well, and do this multiplication accordingly, and then take their sum. That will give the determinant value of that square corresponding to that square matrix. But
Gupta ji, excuse me, Gupta ji, our principal sir, he wants to say something.
Yeah, please.
Sir.
Yeah, nothing. Let him go ahead. I am enjoying his session. Certainly, this type of questions only will make our students to think more also. It is a good session, sir. Please continue, sir. I will address you in the end. No problem.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, again, this question. The chapter is differential equation. Again, it is a direct answer question. If you think to solve this question, see, they have given you the data to solve this question also, so that you can fall in trap and should I say to waste your time. How many arbitrary constants are there in the particular solution? Now, what is the meaning of general solution of a differential equation and the particular solution of a differential equation? If you go by that, so particular solution of differential equation means writing the particular curve, the exact curve. For that matter, suppose I give you this curve. Can you tell me which type of curve is this? Which type of curve is this?
It's a parabola.
This is parabola, but which parabola actually? So we can just have an idea that it is, of this type. I'm saying this type of parabola. It is not this parabola. It could be like this parabola as well. I mean, But in case if I write it like this, y square equals suppose 4x or 2x. So we will have an exact equation of parabola. We can draw its graph and this will be a particular graph. So when we solve a differential equation to get an exact equation, exact curve, so that actually kind of solutions are them as a particular solution. And in those kind of solution, there are no arbitrary constants. So again, as I was saying, there could be some questions which are kind of trap questions for you. Again, this homogeneous differential equation, the degree thing. How do we actually find the degree accordingly? This value of n can be obtained if you have the idea about the degree of differential equation, degree of homogeneous differential equation. I leave these questions as a homework and move further for this case study thing. Case study type question, a very new introduction by CBSE for you people in this pandemic time, and there were no resources available when CBSE came out with these questions. You cannot find any book by CBSE, any ebook by CBSE or by NCERT or by any private publisher when you go in the month of like October or November. Case study means some real life based situations. There will be 2 questions, question number 17 and question number 18. Each question will carry 5 parts and we need to attempt 4 parts. I have seen some students in my classes attempt all the 5 parts of both the questions. In that case, they will be getting only 4 plus 4 marks because every part is of 1 mark, but they have wasted their time in attempting all the 5 parts of both the questions. So be attentive while you do this case study question. Only 4 parts needed to be solved. But the decision of leaving which part, like you can attempt first, second, third, and fourth part, or you can attempt first, second, third, and fifth part. But which part you may skip, the decision will be very crucial, because there could be some questions like you may decide I won't attempt the second part. But when you start solving the third part, you will realize that you need to attempt the second part also. So deciding which part to do, which part to skip is very important in the case study questions. But as I was mentioning, there are 38 questions that needs to be done in the paper, but much more question needs to be, read throughout the paper. So case study actually now 5 parts and some pictures could be there, and you need to visualize the situation and then use your mathematical concept that you have studied. In the CBSE sample question paper, the case study questions were from which topics?
Probability.
Yes. And
applications of derivatives.
Yeah, that was maxima minima topic. So these 2 topics were used for the creation of case study question in the sample question paper of CBSE. But some other chapters are also there where we can have real life based situations, specifically in relations and functions, matrices and determinants, application of integrals, vector and 3D. So we may expect questions in case from these topics as well, because a real life situation can be created from these topics as well. So we move towards this question, which I was mentioning in the beginning of this session, the question number 19. Now such questions, if you go by those unofficial list of deleted questions circulated over various groups in WhatsApp, mention such questions from NCERT are not in syllabus. But here this question come. If we go by this, why I have taken this question, I'm not going to discuss each and every question from your sample question paper. I have just picked a few specific questions and wanted to highlight what you need to focus on. See, I will give you one sample question, x to the power x. Actually, I'm concerned about this thing. How do you plan to solve it? Suppose I have this new question for you. A similar kind of problem. So how do you plan to solve this question? Y is equals x to the power x, or maybe x to the power 10x, x to the power cos x, etc. Any student?
We'll log on both sides.
Yes. Any alternative? And the simplest method, shortest method as well, and valid also. But the method that you mentioned, we can take logarithm on both sides, is absolutely correct and is in NCERT as well. But the alternative that I am asking, if someone can give me the idea about it, the concepts are in NCERT for that alternative method also. Anyone? I have given the reference here also, NCERT part 1, page number this I am mentioning this thing actually. What it is actually equals?
Fx.
It is Fx. Can we use these kind of properties to solve such questions? Yes, we can. And that will save our time. Specifically, I mean, this can be used in CBSE exam as well as in competitive exams. Now this LPP thing, which I was asking you people also in the beginning, I mean, in the middle of the session, how many questions are there in the sample question paper of CBSE? So 2 questions, as you can see here. But this question is a very like casual one. But we can, you know, correlate with this question. How about this one? This is a kind of, you know, application based question. And these both of these questions are from sample question paper. And I have mentioned here word problems and the unbounded feasible region. These 2 things are deleted. To follow before the actual examination. So the 10-year things. Normally every teacher used to say, follow 10 years, follow past few years paper, like this is 2021 exam. So you can follow 2020 and 2019 or 2018 examinations of CBSE, and that will help you a lot. Actually, this year also it may be true, but you need a crystal clear idea, crystal clear guidance from your teachers. Which question to study or which question to skip because of this reduced syllabus thing that can add to your confusion. So sit with your experienced and skilled teacher, and they may help you in deciding that this question is from deleted syllabus, and this question otherwise is seeming that it is from deleted topic, but has an alternative approach to solve the question. And if the alternative approach to solve a particular question falls in the foundation of the syllabus which we have to study, so that question is also in the syllabus.
Yes, sir. So as you said, it's right, sir. So we need to, the children, even we teachers need to focus on the things where, even though if they are not in syllabus, but the previous knowledge can be used to solve the problem.
While we do mathematics, can we just read the mathematics thing? I mean, is it like a literature book? In mathematics, we, you know, have paper pen with us, and we actually have to write the things. We just can't open the book and read like chemistry or literature book. We need to do the things. But in general, we need to use the paper pen. So don't just read the questions, do practice the questions as well. To follow during the exam days in the examination hall. When the exam is there and what you need to do specifically on that particular day. Don't be late. Avoid anxiety. Carry the wristwatch. Although I don't have, I mean, as of now, I forgot actually. But carry the wristwatch. It will help you in managing the time when you are attempting the paper. This year, especially with those students who are wearing the mask and the specs, it creates problem. How many of you are wearing the mask when you have to write the exam and the specs also? Do you face the problem? You know, air actually goes in.
Yes, sir.
Don't be shocked. You can read whatever I have written here. And if I need to explain, sometimes what happens, we go through the question paper and maybe we find that question we just had not prepared the day before exam. And we normally get shocked. Oh my God, what to do now? So avoid being shocked. First of all, solve those questions where you are very much comfortable. And the question which actually, you know, is not that much casual, you can attempt that those questions by the end of the paper if the time permits. And for that, actually, you need to speed up. I mean, in mathematics, what happens? Some students, you know, have this good habit of writing first step, then second step, line-wise, like top to bottom. And some other students have this habit of writing the steps like from left to right. We should follow this, you know, this method. First step in the first line, then second step, then third step, top to bottom. Avoid writing in left to right manner. Start with those questions where you are more confident. You should create margin for rough work. It is duty of you people to make your examiner convince with whatever you have written. Calculation part, especially in probability, in linear programming, and in some other topics also, like in matrices and determinants, especially in those questions where you need to find cofactors, adjoint, inverse of matrix. So calculations are involved. So calculation can be left for, you know, for the last step. it is just a matter of plus or minus. Have you people experienced this thing while calculating the cofactors while finding the adjoint of matrix? What we do, we forget the plus minus thing. How many of you have faced this thing?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. In the third point, as I was mentioning, it is your duty to convince your examiner with whatever you have written. In your school, what happens? Your teacher knows your handwriting. They understand what you want to actually write, what you have written. But in the CBSE examination, nobody knows about you. So it is your duty purely to convince with whatever you have written, do neat and clean work, making the diagram with the help of pencil. Use of graph paper. Now, one important thing that I wanted to mention, there will be one graph paper that will be given to you, and that graph paper is only for LPP. Now, what students actually do, they create partitions in the graph paper, and half portion of the graph they use for LPP and other half they use for application of integrals. And that should be avoided. That entire graph is for LPP. And the graphical work for application of integrals, now that can be done in the answer sheet itself, the normal paper. Again, about case study question, you have to attempt only 4 parts, but there are 5 parts. Be wise in deciding which particular part you need to not attempt, and at the same time, don't attempt all the 5 parts. It will not give you any extra marks. Again, some key points. Drawing the neat and label diagrams, read the question very carefully, now this is very important actually. Answer the question which is asked and not which you think has been asked. Sometimes we read the question and we develop a perception that, okay, it is that question. And we attempt it, but once the exam is over and we are outside the examination hall and discussing the question paper with our friends, we realize that we have answered something else. How many of you have faced this thing? Actually, I have faced the same thing when I was in 12th.
Same here, sir.
Anyway, directly pen can be used to draw the diagram in maxima minima. But in case if you have time and you can spare moments and you can use scale, pencil, etc. to draw the neat and clean diagram, so that will be appreciated. A good impression on the mind of examiner will always help you. He has no idea what kind of student you are. You have to impress the examiner the moment he is sitting for checking your paper. I have seen in the answer script of toppers, which is uploaded on CBSE official websites. Suppose in the first step, I write this thing, dA by dx, right? In the second step, I take the double derivative, okay? And in the third step, if I write this way, and again in the next step, again I write the correct thing. So here I am writing something which is wrong, no?
Yes, sir.
It is very, very small error, but if teacher thinks and he decides, okay, why should we give marks? We should deduct half marks or 1 mark. I mean, okay, he's the boss at that time. I have seen such kind of, small errors in the answer scripts of students who have been, CBSE toppers. And so such kind of things, actually, sometimes teacher overlooks these things. Only if you have impressed your teacher, your examiner in the beginning part of your answer sheet. Try to attempt all the sums in a section at one length. Actually, that also helps. But otherwise, this is not a rule. You can attempt question 1 and then attempt question 15 and then attempt question 35. Okay. ये क्या लिखा हुआ है? What is written here? This thing. What it is? It is incorrect way of writing T. Sometimes what happens, we go to our class subject teacher in our school and explain the teacher, actually, ma'am or sir, it is T. But while checking your answer sheet, the teacher may have thought it as plus. How many of you were thinking it is plus?
I thought, sir.
Anyway.
Yes, sir. We thought plus only, plus or.
Yeah. So that happens. I mean, students come to us and then they try to explain, but this is not going to happen in the board examination. You have to convince the examiner with whatever you have written, correct way of writing T. This year, actually, physical preparation as well as the mental preparation is very important because of this mask thing, social distancing thing and all. There is one rule that I have mentioned in bold at the end of this box, rule of speed, accuracy, and concentration. See what happens when we try to, speed up, accuracy actually gets disturbed. But we can coincide. speed as well as accuracy with the help of concentration. The rule of speed, accuracy, and concentration needs to be observed when you are in the examination hall. Once you have attempted your paper, have a keen and careful revision of your answers. But for that, you must have at least 10 to 15 minutes time left. And this year, completing the paper in the given time of 3 hours is going to be a challenge. So forget about having time for revision. Actually, you need to attempt the all pre-board examination that your school may conduct, or sit at home and do practice from various sample papers. Should a not so good paper affect the next paper? In general, no, but in reality, it does affect. Human nature. A little advice you can read on. Right, kids?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir.
A small message. And at the end, I know, your parents know, your teachers know, everyone knows that you are a champion. Don't be disappointed with the traps of life. There are ups and downs. Life is like sinusoidal curve. The curve of sine, life goes like that. So there may be ups, there may be downs, but at the end you are champion. Don't forget that. So this is the slide I was mentioning. In case you want to send me the homework that I have given you, you can take my contact number, my email ID. Some important links of my work, like CBSE sample paper. Apart from that, I have prepared many sample papers and are available for free on my weblog. I have shared these links with Chandrasekhar sir. I mean, he will surely share the links with you people. These are some books actually written by me, and for this session, this sample paper ebook actually, we have not published this book in the hard copy format, but it is an ebook. The sample question paper for 2021 examination. And
yes, sir, we have received, sir.
On the left hand side. Yes, yes, sir.
Sir, he has already shared.
Okay.
And okay, bit by bit, and we will share again. Definitely, our children will use for the first and second pre-board examination, sir.
Children, any queries, children?
Yeah, kids, any queries?
No, sir. No queries. Thank you so much for all the tips.
Sir, thank you, sir.
Always welcome.
Thanks a lot, sir. You have given...
Welcome, ma'am. Welcome.
Yes, sir. You have given an excellent insight, sir, for upcoming board exams. I feel our children need your support in the near future also. So always
there, ma'am. Yeah, I will be there for sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
sir.
Thank you, sir. I would like to invite our principal, sir, to say a few words about the session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gupta, for your guidance for our +2 and +1 student. Being a maths teacher, I enjoyed your session, and you made it very clearly the pattern of the question paper and how to approach the question paper, and also you made it very clear about the portions deleted and the probable questions can be asked in that particular area, how to approach those questions. These are all the eye-opener for our class 12 children. The moral of the story is, end of the session, I want to tell all our children, practice makes the man perfect. Keep practicing it. First of all, complete all the problems in your textbook, NCERT textbooks, example problems, and then all tricky questions you try to resolve. I was wondering, by looking at this element multiplied by the first row element multiplied by the cofactor of the second row, it is one of the property. Actually, it is supposed to be 0. It means still you are not thorough with your NCERT textbooks. But not to be panicked, we have another 100 days more. If you try to revise at least from today onwards without omitting any portions or any words of your textbooks easily you can cover up, and take it up more number of tests. Don't wait for your school to conduct the pre-board or revision examinations or whatever the thing. They may conduct at the most 3 pre-board examinations, 3 rounds of revision examination. That may not be sufficient. Okay, you yourself should write the many number of tests, chapter wise or the full portion wise, or first of all, you find out the answer for the CBSE model question papers. There may be a chance a few questions which are given in a CBSE model question paper may be reflecting or may appear in your board question paper also. Kindly make use of this time. Thank you, Mr. Gupta ji, for taking a session and to make our students to realize, and by this time they may know where do they stand, what is their gray area, where they have to focus, etc., etc. Thank you very much, sir, Mr. Gupta ji.
Welcome, sir. And it was a moment of great opportunity being given by your school. And I hope I was helpful to the children and the related stakeholders. And all the best to all the children. And thank you very much to all principal, vice principal ma'am, and AVP sir, and Karuna ma'am, Chandrasekhar sir, and to everyone else. Thank you.
Sir, 1 minute, sir.
Yeah.
One of the students want to propose vote of thanks, official vote of thanks. So
Good evening, everyone.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. It is my proud privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this occasion. On behalf of Indian School Al Maabela, I would like to thank Mr. O.P. Gupta, sir, for accepting our invitation and for giving us such an informative session. I would also like to extend our sincere gratitude to our respected principal, sir, Mr. P. Prabhakaran, sir, our respected vice principal, ma'am, Dr. Gladys Diana Kumar, our respected AVP, sir, Mr. Suresh M.S, to all SMC members, AVPs of all departments, HODs of our mathematics department, and to all other teachers for their guidance and support. Once again, thank you, everyone, and thank you, sir.
Thank you, Omar.
Welcome. It was
Guptaji, we will consider you as one of the members of our Indian School Al Maabela family.
Yes, sir.
Till the last moment of our board examination, our teachers, our students will disturb you, sir. Really, they will disturb you.
It is a moment of pleasure for me, and you all are always welcome to disturb me anytime.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for your
support. As far as mathematics is concerned, everyone is welcome.
Thank you for the support, Gupta sir. Always our children and ourselves will be in touch with you.
Yes, sure.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.